We've got a lot to talk about today, guys, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I'll talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, look at this amazing UFO captured over Mexico. Really intriguing looking sphere or whatever it is, has a intriguing, texture or, appearance. What is that? Is that, some sort of field around it that is generating that appearance? Is it an other dimensional entity of some sort or a vessel of some sort? What are we looking at? And why are we being distracted by the plane when we should be focusing on the UFO? Very, very intriguing looking thing. Looks like some sort of amoeba or something. Seems to have some motion to it, as we've seen with many of the more amorphous shape UFOs. But a really intriguing capture. So let me know what you think about that. Crazy looking, moving, weird looking UFO. I don't know. I tend to think that's some sort of field around it. But maybe that's just what it looks like. I don't know. Meanwhile, Jesse Michaels is offering the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, former director of Arrow, $100,000 to come on a show. He says, my buddy Kyle offered to double this. So we are now at $100,000 payment for a simple, unedited podcast appearance from Sean Kirkpatrick. Yeah, because Jesse had originally offered $50,000. Now it's up to $100,000. Of course, Sean over there at Oak Ridge Labs under Battelle, reverse engineering UFOs or whatever he's doing. He's the Chief Technology Officer for the National Security Sciences Directorate at Oak Ridge National Laboratory. Whatever he's doing, reverse engineering UFOs is probably what he's doing. But Battelle and Oak Ridge have long been associated with UFO reverse engineering and alien technology applications. So, he's probably working on something like that. That's my guess. Let me know what you think he's doing. Do you think he should come on Jesse Michaels? Joe Murgia says about this, if I'm Kirkpatrick, I'd jump at this unless you're going to spring a firsthand, hands-on NHI craft witness on him. I don't think he'll be fazed by many questions. Yeah, I'm sure he has all the pat answers and everything. The only way to do it would be some sort of gotcha. So, absolutely bring him on and then give him a gotcha. I hope that Jesse has one in his back pocket. But like Joe, I think it's very unlikely. I think that Sean Kirkpatrick is probably making very good money over there at his cushy UFO control group job. I don't think that he is going to jump at $100,000, but I could be wrong. And he could come on Jesse Michaels, just continue spreading his disinformation. Maybe he or his handlers think that he could put out some fires if he were able to get on there and spread some disinformation. I think he might be boring and convincing enough to actually do it effectively. Because I really do. I think that Sean Kirkpatrick has studied how to be boring. He has nailed this. And I think he's doing that intentionally to make the topic of UFOs uninteresting. We're talking about aliens here, and he's trying to make them uninteresting. And I think he's done it for some people. He has bored some people away from the topic of UFOs. So will he come on Jesse Michaels, accept $100,000, and then bore us all for that money? Let me know what you think. Meanwhile, we have more people speaking out against the recent disinformation. Merrick von Rennenkamp is giving us a case study on Mick West disinformation, where he says the USS Jackson is an interesting puzzle, but there's insufficient data to rule things in or out. However, Merrick von Rennenkamp has this to say. Mick West, the 2023 USS Jackson incident is an interesting puzzle. Mick West then recreates the incident in his 3D simulation and finds that there is no prosaic explanation. Suddenly, the USS Jackson incident is uninteresting. It's just a couple of blurry blobs. Yep, work on cases based on how interesting they seem. Jackson is just a couple of blurry dots. So yeah, he couldn't disprove it. So now it's just a couple of blurry dots. Okay, I think that shows how genuine of a person Mick West is. He is, yeah. So, meanwhile, Eric Davis is calling out the disinformation from the Wall Street Journal.
In my conversations with Wall Street Journal reporter Joel Schechtman, I clearly explained that my statements in the 2009 New York Times article did not include any mention of Art's parts. Furthermore, I did not confirm or imply during our discussions that Art's parts were part of my interactions with Leslie Kean and Ralph Blumenthal. Kean and Blumenthal can independently verify that our conversations were specifically about classified skiff briefings conducted in October 2019 relating exclusively to recovered non-human off-world craft, both damaged and retrieved by the U.S. government, since the mid-1940s and subsequently analyzed by select aerospace defense companies. My only mention of Art's parts to Joel pertains strictly to the Oak Ridge National Laboratory materials analysis report sponsored by Aero under the Army CRADA, whatever that is, with To the Stars Academy during my Pentagon visit last August with Hal Puthoff and Joe Cannon of the Army. We reviewed and discussed these ORNL, which is the abbreviation for Oak Ridge National Laboratory, findings directly with ORNL and Aero representatives. I explicitly did not associate this information with the 2020 New York Times article in my dialogue with Joel. Additionally, I explicitly informed Joel Schechtman, that, quote, Art's parts lack credible provenance, being anonymously mailed to Art Bell along with an unverified account involving a grandfather allegedly discovering them in the New Mexico desert around the mid-1940s. I clearly expressed my professional skepticism regarding such anecdotal narratives. Joel's misunderstandings or misrepresentations of these points in our interviews has significantly affected the accuracy of his reporting.
Now, yeah, and obviously that's Matt Ford reading statements from Eric Davis. Now I think there's some good stuff that came out of Art's parts, and of course the bismuth piece that they talked about, I think, is very likely an anomalous object. But there you go, Eric Davis setting the record straight on Joel Schechtman, author of that article. However, Joel is not silent on any of this. He's got this new, as of a couple of days ago, new post saying how a band of alien believers turned the myth of reverse engineering UFOs at Lockheed into something like reality. And links to the Wall Street Journal. However, Mike Herrera has replied to this, as has Sean Patrick Hazlett of Through the Glass Darkly and Matt Ford of The Good Trouble Show, Disclosure Party, Gonzalo Chavez, UAP Jedi, Wixie. Everybody's replying to this. But Mike Herrera, who I've been lucky enough to have on the show, really fascinating information that Mike has, amazing sighting in Indonesia, and further experiences and information here in the U.S. I love Mike, and his information I think is really ground shaking and bombshell stuff. He says, personally, being at facilities with this tech and with others who worked on it or recovered it, and I can attest it's very real and true. Who's paying your bills, Joel? This is the problem of pushing a false narrative and misinformation, and to us in the know, your credibility is non-existent. You'll have to answer for it one day. Grow some balls and make your own decisions instead of taking money from cowards who don't want the truth out. Hear, hear, Mike. Hear, hear. Meanwhile, Jaime Maussan is reporting on more Booga-style UFOs appearing in the Mexico City area. Let me know if you think this is a balloon or a drone or some sort of hoax, CGI, or if you think this is a genuine Boogosphere or Booga type sphere filmed south of the border. Really intriguing that there are so many of these objects all over the world, but we've seen multiple now from that part of the world. Are they, again, about the same operation, the same mission that the first Boogosphere was about? Or are they looking for the first Boogosphere? What are they doing? What are these spheres doing? Are they looking for resources? Are they working with energy grids or energy lines? Are they, are they surveillance drones, alien or control group surveillance craft of some sort? Now, to me, this doesn't move like a balloon. I don't believe it's a drone. But let me know if you do, if you think it's dangling on wires and this is in fact, more or less a pendulum dangling from wires. I would love it if it were just like shooting off to the side or something like that. But yeah, there you go. It is going to the side. It would be on a very long wire if that was on a wire, but hey, not to say it couldn't happen. I guess this is all the same UFO, maybe not a compilation of different UFOs. But yeah, thanks for Jaime for sharing these amazing images of this singular UFO, I guess. This Booga-style UFO video that they are still seeing, in their most recent days. Meanwhile, continuing with Ross Coulthart talking about what advanced technology the U.S. possesses, he has this to say.
I certainly am aware of United States experiments involving anti-gravity. I do believe that the United States has probably cracked anti-gravity. I'm not aware of any specific experiments at Ramstein, which is a huge Air Force base that I've actually been to in Germany. It's the sort of through point to Afghanistan for a lot of US forces during that war. It's also where people were medevaced back to for treatment. I am aware of in different parts of the world, the US being involved in attempting to replicate anti-gravity technology. And this goes right back to Thomas Townsend Brown, who my good friend and colleague Jesse Michaels has done an extraordinarily good video about. I commend it to you. Go to American Alchemy, put in Thomas Townsend Brown, and there's a great documentary that Jesse's done about this. It's quite obvious that the United States has been working on anti-gravity right through the 50s, the 60s, and then it all went dark. And the reason it went dark, I think, is because they had a breakthrough and it was all buried. And I agree with Eric Weinstein that there's been a manipulation of modern physics to try to stop modern physics from discovering what the United States has discovered in the black. And this is one of the issues that really infuriates me, is that I've spoken to people inside the US military and intelligence community who tell me that the US is suppressing enormous scientific breakthroughs in order to give itself a strategic advantage against its foreign adversaries. And in the course of doing that, it's holding the world back from discoveries that could quite literally take us to the stars.
Well, isn't that frustrating? We know they have the technology. We know they've been sitting on it and suppressing it. Other countries might have it as well. I'm not convinced that the U.S. is sitting on this technology to give us a strategic advantage. I don't think we've been able to weaponize it. I don't think we've been allowed to weaponize it. I don't think the beings have allowed us to weaponize it. And you can understand why they wouldn't want us to do that. But there is no evidence in any of the research that I've done that suggests that indeed the U.S. or any other country has been able to weaponize this exotic technology. We have it and we use it for other purposes. The question is, what are those other purposes? What are we doing when we run around the world in our own human-flown and human-operated UFOs? What happens when we leave the planet in these vehicles, which apparently we do. So, yeah, a lot of unanswered questions about this technology and what we're doing with it. I disagree with Ross about the strategic surprise part of this, but let me know if you disagree. Let me know what you think the control group is doing with this exotic technology. Meanwhile, a lot of people think we live in a prison planet, that we are somehow stuck here, that our souls are forced to reincarnate over and over again, something like that. This is a narrative that more and more people seem to be embracing. And it breaks my heart to think that Whitley Strieber, who has generally more of an optimistic view of what I call the greater phenomenon, and he sees the UFO phenomenon as part of that greater phenomenon as I do, well, it breaks my heart that he may be coming around to the prison planet hypothesis. He says in a recent tweet, it seems to me that it is gradually being understood that this is a place of confinement. If so, then the end of our imprisonment is in sight. Okay, so it's a prison planet, but we're about to break out. The gates cannot be opened by the ambitious and the greedy. Only the good can open those gates out of their willingness to serve others. So Whitley Strieber sounds like has come around to the prison planet hypothesis or narrative, but he's embracing the version of the narrative where the prison planet is about to end and we are about to be liberated. This goes in with the whole ascension thing, shifting to a higher vibration, shifting into the fifth dimension, the ascension of Gaia, Age of Aquarius, the rapture, all that kind of stuff seems to go along with that narrative, or those narratives, that genre of narratives, if you will, or modalities of ascension, if you will, we are entering a new era, an era of change and of ascension of one kind or another. And it is going to break the bonds that enchain us or have enchained us. Now, I don't support the prison planet idea, but that could be a separate video. There's just so much evidence against it, although there is some evidence in favor of it. However, I will read what Jason Wild says here. I think this is very deep. People think there's an end game. You know, like when you die or die again, and then you end up in some magical place. And that if you meditate hard enough, pray long enough, dissolve enough karma, you'll reach some cosmic exit sign. Game over, you win. But the truth is a cosmic giggle. There is no end game. Not because you're stuck or anything like that, but because you're free. The deeper you go, the more you realize this whole ride never ends. It just keeps spiraling, not as a punishment, but as play and pure freedom. You can return to source. You can burn through every identity until all that's left is silence. You'll sit in the infinite, the real, the raw, unfiltered presence that existed before time. But guess what? Even there, something stirs. Not desire, not ego, but an overflow, a wave, a cosmic grin. And in that moment, you'll remember, the fall into illusion wasn't a fall at all. It was a dive, a choice. You wanted to taste yourself again, to forget just enough so you could remember, like playing hide and go seek with yourself. So you come back, not out of need, not because you have to, but because you get to, because the act of remembering is more beautiful than staying awake forever, because God didn't create the world to escape it. God created it to feel it. And you are that. You've always been that. You'll reach the end. You'll return to the start. And when you do, you'll laugh, you'll bow, and you'll begin again. It sounds maniacal, but it's true. There is no end game. Okay, well, that is good. I'm glad there's no end game, Jason. But I think that as a nice counterpoint to the idea of the prison planet, that we're stuck here and forced to reincarnate again and again. Per Jason's idea, we're not trapped here via some sort of prison mechanism, but we are simply enjoying every aspect of being part of this reality. And we created this reality for that reason. And hey, I think that's just as valid of an idea as the other, maybe even more valid. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Last but not least, nope. Nope. No. Nope. Let me know if you would do this insane ride down the cliff or ride down the mountain. And let me know what you think about everything else covered in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook and Twitter. Links are below. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below. You can become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really do appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Also, channel members frequently get to see videos hours ahead of everybody else. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.